Good afternoon, everybody. It is Sunday, December the 20th at about 2:30 p.m. This is meteorologist Shay Gibson with Wind Alert, and I kite surf and the other apps with Weather Flow. I'm going to be doing a preliminary forecast for the Kite Jam. I love doing this every year, so I'm wishing everybody a Merry Christmas. And just know that this forecast does have some challenges. We're trying to get you some wind on Christmas Eve, as the forecast continues to pan out. There's some issues with the cold front and the timing and all that, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But one thing I want you to keep in mind is thank Robert Griffin and the others for the participation and the organization that's needed to be involved with this sort of event. It's really important to stay focused on the children, right? It's about fellowship and camaraderie, getting the guests together and delivering to the children more so than anything else. If there's wind, it's a bonus. It's always a good thing. So just bear with them as they organize the event, and no matter when and where it happens, just keep your heart light and keep focused on the children. So, anyways, let's go ahead and go into the forecast, and I'm going to make myself a little smaller here off the corner. And here's the Kite Jam, of course, with the new shirt this year. I thought this was a great design. So this is fantastic job to Robert and those who helped develop this shirt. So hats off to you guys. Keep it going, man. This is what this group's all about here at Christmas time. All right, let's take a look at the forecast right now in Florida. There's a cold front approaching. There's southerly winds. You have some pretty strong winds near Skyway. Moderate winds, actually, upper teens, Tampa Bay Cut J. It's a little bit up and down all over the place in between rain and showers that are occurring in some of those areas. We go ahead and take a look. I'll run some of the model guidance here. Now, I'm going to pick Tampa Bay Cut J just because it's a central location and it has some data back behind the forecast reads out through the GFS. So we know that these higher resolution models like the NAM3, the HER3, some of these drop off after 48 hours or so just because they're higher resolution models. And so what we're stuck with is something that goes further out, usually the Canadian, the GMC, the GFS, and the WaveWatch 3, which is a component of the GFS. So when we start looking at the modeling, we're starting to see some increases on this day from the south. This is going to be ahead of a cold front. So I do think that the low-level jetting profile will support a moderate forecast for southerly winds. However, we got to really watch for storm lines because there is severe weather that may be associated with this cold front. It looks pretty strong on its approach. Immediately behind that cold front, these northerly winds are going to be cutting through, and they may actually cut through early and weaken the cold front. So the cool air jetting in behind the cold front could make it fall apart, where it would just be kind of messy for a little while. So timing is everything with this. There's a lot of dynamics in play here. I'll go ahead and run this is the surface map here from NOAA and from WPC. And what we have here is, if we look at Wednesday, now the rain falls off because the rain models fall off at days 3. But if we go forward in time, we see high pressure setting up over the area where you have an east wind on the 23rd. And then we have a cold front, this really strong cold front right here. I'll just mark it. It's going to be marching pretty quick towards the Tampa Bay area. In fact, the entire West Coast for that matter, East Coast. If we go forward, we see how fast it goes within a 12-hour period, and then it goes further all the way through by Friday. But if we back up to Thursday, it looks like we're going to have some convergent winds. We have high pressure out here in the Atlantic that's driving that clockwise flow, and that's going to be creating that southerly wind that's convergent winds ahead of the front. They usually line up with however the front is positioned. So if it's coming in this way, the winds would be more southwest and sometimes on the south side. But I think for most intents and purposes, we're going to have a southerly flow that morning. Now, how much moisture or prefrontal storms come out ahead of this front is still yet to be determined, because this area of high pressure is going to be driving down behind it, and northerly winds are going to be coming down behind it as well. So this thing may be on the move pretty quick and get through the area pretty quick, but these northerly winds may be punching through the front somewhere down here where the point is weakest. The upper low it's associated with is up well to the north. So that means these winds are allowed to kind of punch through where the front weakens to the south. So there's that. That makes it a little bit tricky as well, just understanding the wind speeds, how those can change. And so if we go back to the GFS model, here we are on a Thursday morning. We see GFS is reading moisture ahead of the front, and I'm showing the entire eastern U.S. for this particular one, so you can see what's coming in behind it. And as you go forward, we see by Thursday afternoon, we get those lines of showers. Some of them could be thunderstorms. I think more of the strongest activity is going to lie up along the mid-Atlantic in the southeast region, maybe even further north where that front causes some severe thunderstorms possibly. But we could see those extending all the way down into Florida. But right here, you see these this pressure gradient lining up behind the front with those northerly winds. And if I toggle over to the lower dynamics 10-meter wind, we can see that pretty clearly. Now, this is, like I said, things are going to change and shift with this model, but as we see right now, and I'll go down into the southeast, capture a little bit better. We see that by Thursday morning, you see that subtly draw these wind barbs right here indicate 15 knots, right? And then further down to the south, it's weaker, right around 5 to 10 knots. But we see that those winds will be increasing. Now, this model jumps 6 hours in plot, but you can see how fast it goes from here to there. In 6 hours' time, these northerly winds are cranking up about 20 to 25, maybe even 30 knots, because the high pressure is so strong coming in behind it, and the pressure gradient is strong. So these could be arriving in Tampa sometime in the afternoon. That's what the models are starting to pick up on. As you get into tomorrow, you might see the NAM 12 come into play. But this is what's driving. If we look out to Thursday, we see the southerly wind, and then more models will be jumping on board in time over the next couple of days, and we can get a better idea of it. But that's sort of what's happening. We're all kind of waiting to watch and see what happens. So I'm not sure what Robert would want to do, whether do an early morning. These cold fronts tend to back up in time as we go forward. Right now, they're pinning it coming through right around midday to 2 o'clock p.m., but that could slide back. So we may not see that front pass until maybe a little bit later. Then again, if the front approaches quicker, it could come through quicker, or those northerly winds can punch through. So I'll be talking to Robert about that and trying to plan this out for the best location possible. But again, just be patient and stay focused. Even if it doesn't work out, you can still get together and have a good time and do it all for the kids. So it looks like air temperatures are going to be pretty warm that day, right around 74, and low that night at 60. So 74 for a high for Tampa Bay. If we look at the sea surface temperatures, let me activate this. This is our Datascope product that I use for in-depth forecasting versus iKitesurf, which doesn't have some of these products. But if we look at the sea surface temperatures, are right around 64.3 degrees inside the bay, and also oceanside is 64.3 degrees as well. And with that means, with air temperatures around 74, it means marine layering may not be so much of an issue. It usually waits until it's about 15 to 20 degree difference between air and water where you start to see fogging and marine layering, and then the wind doesn't come up, you get decoupling. But with it being 74, 75 degrees, I think you'll be okay. There may be some shallow marine layer in some spots, but usually inside the bay, you find some of these little thermal pockets that some of you know so well. But I think that's going to be it for the forecast. I don't really have much else at this point. I'll probably have more on Tuesday to dive in and figure it out. But either way, everyone just stay patient, follow Robert's guidance, let everything just kind of come together either way. And if there's good wind and no storms in the hand, that's really good for everybody. So I'll be back on soon enough. Everybody, take care and thanks for watching.